Back to my dad's channel. Welcome back to my dad's channel. Welcome back to my dad's channel.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Phoenix 198720 here to bring you my latest episode for my Let's Talk About series. And we're going to talk today about the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, the NES. With a shout out to CRead Gaming, and his link will be in the description below, who gave me the idea for this topic, which is one heck of a great system from back in the day, and is still considered one of the best systems to this day. And the NES came out originally in Japan in 1983. Yes, 1983. And it didn't get a North America release until 1985. That's a decent amount of years away. That's good, but what a lot of people don't know is when, what's the word I'm looking for? When Nintendo was about to release it in North America, they did trial runs. And they brought over about 200 NES systems in North America to see if they would sell in North America. And these systems, if you can get a hold of the original ones released, and good old NES days, I mean, you can find these ones. They did the 200 system release. Those systems are worth a lot because the games weren't in package. They were in bags, stapled. Yes. So you can get your hands on one of those suckers, you'd be laughing. And I mean, you would be laughing because they're worth so much. And if you have good old NES at home and you still get the box and everything, get that motherfucking graded because it will be worth a lot of money. Now, saying that, there was a lot of great games. Nintendo's famous for its Mario and Zelda games, which is true. They have really good Mario and Zelda games, but they had a lot of great games as well. Some games on it were one of a kind, and some were games that were on it that were developers were releasing because it was their last chance to get a game before they went bankrupt. And the big example I can say is Final Fantasy. The creator of Final Fantasy failed multiple times on this game, so he's given one last shot, which is the reason you got Final. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna make this a fantasy game, Final Fantasy, which Nintendo said sure, and it did really well. It saved his career and everything like that. So that is a good thing. And but we had a lot. There's a lot. There's the Power Glove for the NES that came out. There was the Duck Hunt gun, or the gun, whatever you want to call it, which came, the Zapper, the Nintendo Zapper, came in gray and orange. And they had a lot of great games. A lot of games that people don't think that Nintendo had, they had. Their main competition was Sega. So it was Mario versus Sonic. But that's not a bad thing. Competition's not bad, but look at the category. A lot of the hardest games out there to date are still on the NES system. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That son of a gun was hard, and a lot of people found it really hard to beat. Yes, you had a control deck, and you had A, B buttons on the controllers. No more, so they were very limited. So when making a game, the controls for the game was the reason why it was so hard for people sometimes. Was because the controls did not make any bloody sense. And that was the challenge. You had two buttons, A and B. And there's not much you can do with that besides like item, jump, punch, jump, something like that. Like Double Dragon, great game. Mega Man was a great game, and they had a huge series on the NES. And those games were tough as shit. And I'm not getting any pussyfoot around that. Those games were tough, but they were fun. They were challenging. They made the games. They made them So they were so strong and so good. They didn't make them, oh, we're gonna make it easy. No, we want to challenge the gamers. And that's what they did. They challenged every gamer out there. And they made it so fun. And they took ideas from, okay, this game was good, but how can we make it better? You know what I mean? And they found ways to make the games better when they came up with the sequel. Now, a lot of times, it was trial and error. Like, they came out with an excellent, oh shit, what do you call it? Mario game. And then they came out with Mario 2, which wasn't great. It was a different style that everybody wasn't used to. And that wasn't Nintendo's purpose. Their purpose was they wanted to go one way, but Nintendo America said, nah, how about we go this way? It's going to be a lot easier. And they did. And look at Legend of Zelda. They went top view for the first time around, and then Legend of Zelda 2, they went more of side-scroller type, and it worked for them. You can't say it didn't work. It did. It brought games to franchise that sold. And Nintendo was a stepping stone, or the NES, I mean, was a stepping stone for a lot of great series. And to this day, a lot of the series that started on the NES are still popular today, are still sold today. So if the NES wasn't around, which we have all these popular franchises like Final Fantasy, like Mega Man, like Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda. If Nintendo said, you know what, we failed, we didn't do well with the color TV or the Game & Watch, you know what, we're going to go back to making playing cards. We're going to go back to doing A, B, X, and Z. No, the NES was, it was 8 megabyte console, which it was really hard to portrait the best type of graphics and what they want to do. But the NES made it done. Got it done. It had its limitations. And I'm not going to lie, yes, it did have it, but it also offered a lot more. To the point where Steve Jobs was scared that Nintendo was going to take over the world. And you're going to say, what? Why would Steve Jobs be scared of Nintendo taking over the world? Because a lot of people don't know. The NES was internet ready. Yeah, in '85 they were internet ready, but they never pursued anything with internet. And Steve Jobs and Apple was like, oh cool, because they knew that Apple would have a harder time selling their computers if Nintendo decided, you know what, we're gonna put internet and everything like that so all their consoles could go online. No, they made their consoles internet ready, but they never put them online. They had other stuff in Japan that they used online for, and it was more of communication with other consoles and stuff like that, and more for developers than anything. But they had that. They got it done that way, and they weren't scared. They weren't scared to do that. And it was something really nice that they were able to do. So they were able to have all this realistic stuff in a machine and pump it out there at a reasonable price. It wasn't too expensive for people. And they kept their consoles at a very reasonable price. They didn't jack them up and say, you know, we're going to raise our consoles. They wanted to put the consoles in the hands of everybody, knowing the fact that a lot of people didn't have that much money, so why aim at the upper class people for this? And they said, you know what, how about we make the console a bit cheaper, and we're going to sell it to every class, because if we can put consoles in everybody's home, not just upper class, we will be able to do what we need to do. And they did it. They made their consoles fun, and the NES is still played today. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And a lot of people say, oh, well, it's a classic console. Trust me. I know there's a lot of us that grew up on these consoles that still swears at the Duck Hunt dog. And we all know that the Duck Hunt dog gotta get taken out like Old Yellow did. Because that laughed, drove everybody nuts, and we really, most of the time, probably spent time missing the duck and shooting the dog. But it is what it is, and it broke waves. And the NES did a lot of things that it shouldn't. It brought a lot of developers big ideas that started on the NES. That was huge for the NES. That was also benefit them in the long run as well. And they were able to do that quite nicely. And I mean quite nicely. But it's not about what I want and what I hear. I know what I want. I like the games that I want. And I love the NES. It's one of the greatest systems. Especially when you take that cartridge, put it in 1009. It didn't work. So you took it out and you had to blow on that son of a bitch. Trust me, if you had an NES, you knew exactly what I'm talking about. But enough about me talking about the NES. I want to know if you guys had the NES, and did you guys enjoy it? Was that a system that you had lots of fun on? Or were you a Sega person? Because if you were a Sega person and you never played an NES, and you weren't friends with Johnny down the street, you were friends with Karen down the street. So, do me a solid. Do me a solid. Throw your answers in that comment below. Hit that comment box. Tell me if you played it, if you loved it, if you hated it, if one of your best franchise started on the NES system. Let me know. So, this is the end of my segment for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. So, I want you all to do me a solid. Hit that like button. Share this with all your friends and family. And across every one of your guys' social media platforms. I appreciate it. If you're brand new to my channel, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button. And then turn on that little bell right beside it so you can stay up to date with my latest video. And, like I said, if you're returning to my channel, I love you guys. I love the support that you guys show me. So until further ado, this is Phoenix 1987-20 saying I hope you have a good morning, a good evening, and a good afternoon. Peace.